Blessed day, everyone. The course that we will be discussing today is Introduction to Cybercrime. It is one of the professional courses as stipulated under the CMO 5 series of 2018 for the program Bachelor of Science in Criminology. This course covers an overview of cybercrime, including a basic understanding of computer technology, history of cybercrimes, nature and types of cybercrimes, incident response, collection and preservation, digital investigative plan, and the applicable legal provision. For the disclaimer, all information and pictures that will be disclosed herein are for general education purposes only. I have no intention to claim nor to own it. So credits to all authors and owners. The first cyber attack is hacking. Hacking is an act committed by an intruder by accessing your computer system without your permission. Hackers are basically computer programmers who have an advanced understanding of computers, highly skilled, and commonly misuse this knowledge for scheming reasons. Scheming is secret plans, often to deceive others. Aside by reason of scheming, these people tend to hack other devices because they want to show off, greed power, fame, and because of intellectual curiosity. What devices that can be hacked by cyber hackers? The devices that can be hacked by cyber hackers includes computers, smartphones, tablets, and even entire networks. There are techniques used by hackers, and the first one is structured query language injections or SQL injections. It is a technique that allows hackers to play upon the security vulnerabilities of the software that runs a website. It can be used to attack any type of unprotected or improperly protected structured query language database. Structured query language is usually an additional command that, when inserted into the web form, tries to change the content of the database to reflect a successful login. It can also be used to retrieve information such as credit card numbers or passwords from unprotected sites. A successful attack requires a web application to include malicious code from an attacker and a SQL statement. The malicious code usually comes from an untrusted source. In some cases, internal system databases can also be the source of malicious data. When malicious SQL statements execute against a back-end database, an attacker can modify or access the database. The next cyber attack is theft of FTP or file transfer protocol passwords. If you send files using FTP, files are either uploaded or downloaded to the FTP server. When you're uploading files, the files are transferred from a personal computer to the server. When you're downloaded files, the files are transferred from the server to your personal computer. FTP password hacking takes advantage of the fact that many webmasters store their website login information on their poorly protected PCs. The thief searches the victim system of FTP login details and then relays them to his own remote computer. He then logs into the website via the remote computer and modifies the web pages as he or she pleases. Additionally, you must have to remember that FTP is susceptible to hackers systematically checking frequently used and repeated passwords until they find the correct one. They will make use of combinations of characters, letters, numbers, until they were able to get your password and have an access to your files or devices. Next cyber attack is the cross-site scripting. The hacker infects a web page with a malicious client side script or program. When you visit this web page, the script is automatically downloaded to your browser and executed. So, how cross-site scripting being done by hackers? So it all started with the script injected link sent to the victim. The attacker aims to execute malicious scripts in a web browser of the victim by including malicious code in a legitimate web page or web application. Next is the actual occurs when the victim visits the web page or web application that executes the malicious code. And the web page or web application becomes a vehicle to deliver the malicious script to the user's browsers. So that is the cycle of the cross-site scripting. Another is the virus dissemination. Virus dissemination are computer programs that attach themselves to or infect a system or files and have tendency to circulate to other computers on a network. They disrupt the computer operation and affect the data stored either by modifying it or by deleting it together. So how this happen, or how does this happen? So how does this happen? Well, the malicious code or virus is inserted in the chain of command so that when the infected program is run, the viral code is also executed, or in some cases runs instead of the legitimate program. Computer viruses usually spread via removable media or the internet. This is what may appear or when there is a virus dissemination. It will infect your computer, there will be reproduction, and it will spread the virus to another device, and it will repeat the process. Next is the logic bombs. Logic bombs is also known as slug code. It is a malicious piece of code which is intentionally inserted into software to execute a malicious task when triggered by a specific event. Is the logic bomb considered virus? The answer is no. It is not a virus, although it usually behaves in a similar manner. It is stealthily inserted into the program where it lies dormant until specified conditions are met. Malicious software such as viruses and worms are often contain logic bombs which are triggered at a specific payload or at a predefined time. The Department of Justice in the United States have divided cybercrime into the following three categories. First, crimes in which the computer acts as a weapon. For example, performing the denial of service attack or the distributed denials of service attack, or abbreviated as DDoS. DDoS in its method where cybercriminals flood a network with so much malicious traffic that it cannot operate or communicate as it normally would. A distributed denial of service attack is a malicious attempt to disrupt the normal traffic of targeted server, service, or network by overwhelming the target or its surrounding infrastructure with a flood of internet traffic. As the effect, it may render your device unable to connect to the internet. Suffering of this attack may seem like an inevitable side effect of being online. So, the more successful your site, the more likely it might seem that you'll be the target of an attack at some point. Another, your website is overwhelmed and becomes unavailable or inoperable. This attack could render your site more vulnerable to the hacking as all of your systems are focused on getting the site back online. And security system may have been put out of action by the attack. If your site suffers this attack, you will receive thousands of requests from multiple sources, from the unknown sources, over a period of minutes or sometimes hours. These requests aren't the result of a website suddenly getting a spike in traffic. They are automated and will come from limited number of sources depending on the scale of the attack. So, how this DDoS differs from hacking. DDoS attack is not the same thing as hacking, although two can be linked. The perpetrators aren't attempting to access your website files or admin, but instead they cause it to crash or become vulnerable due to the volume of requests. You might or maybe some of you have already experienced receiving a lot of messages through your email from the unknown sources. In some cases, they will be followed by attempts to hack the site when it's vulnerable. But in the majority of cases, the aim is simply to make the site stop working. But the question is, why would someone DDoS on your site? There are many reasons why an attacker might want to put your site out of action via the DDoS attack. These include attacks by competitors and attacks because of your content, or sometimes it satisfies their desire when they put DDoS or when they made this kind of attack to somebody else. Next attack is the phishing. This is a technique of extracting confidential information such as credit card numbers and username password combos by masquerading as a legitimate enterprise. Phishing is typically carried out by email spoofing. So how cybercriminals perform phishing. The cybercriminal will build a fake site and then send out of thousands of phishing emails with link to fake website. Then the victims click on link in email believing it is legitimate, the interpersonal information. Then the cybercriminal will compile the stolen data and sell it online or use it themselves. And that is how the cycles or how the phishing works or being performed. Another example is an email sent to users of an online service that alerts them of a policy violation requiring immediate action on their part, such as it requires password change. It includes a link to an illegitimate website nearly identical in appearance to its legitimate version, prompting the unsuspecting user to enter their current credentials in new password. Upon form submittal, the information is sent to the attacker. Given that identical or near identical messages are sent to all users in phishing campaigns, detecting and blocking them are much easier for mail servers having access to threat sharing platforms. Not all phishing is done via email or websites. Phishing involves calls to victims using fake identity, fooling you into considering the call to be from a trusted organization. They may claim to be from a bank, asking you to dial a number and enter your account details. Once you do that, your account security is compromised. Next cyber attack is email bombing and spamming. Email bombing is characterized by an abuser sending huge volumes of email to a target address, resulting in victim's email account or mail servers crashing. The message is meaningless and excessively long in order to consume network resources. If multiple accounts of a mail server are targeted, it may have a denial of service impact. While spamming is a variant of email bombing. Here, unsolicited bulk messages are sent to a large number of users indiscriminately. Opening links given in spam mails may lead you to phishing websites hosting malware. Such mail arriving frequently in your inbox can be easily detected by spam filters. Email bombing is commonly carried out using botnets, like private internet connected computers whose security has been compromised by malware and under the attacker's control as a DDoS attack. Email spamming worsens when the recipient replies to the email, causing all the original addresses to receive the reply. Spammers collect email addresses from customer lists, new groups, chat rooms, websites, and viruses, which harvest users' address books and sell them to other spammers as well. Another target is the webjacking. Webjacking derives its name from hijacking. Here, the hacker takes control of a website fraudulently. He may change the content of the original site or even redirect the user to another fake similar looking page controlled by him. When jacked by the cybercriminal, the owner of the website has no more control, and the attacker may use the website for his own selfish interests. So let us know the webjacking attack method. The first step of webjacking attack method is to create a fake page of victim website, for example, www.anyvictim.com/login.ph, or the attacker initial a client side QR session and clone the login QR code into a phishing website. The second step is to host it either on your local computer or shared hosting. And then the third step is to send the link of a fake page to the victim. Then the victim scans the QR code or open the link and enter their details and submit back forth to the server, which is the attacker. Then the last step, you will get all the details submitted by the victims, or the attacker will now receive all the details submitted by the victim. The service is exchanging all the victim's data with the attacker's session. In that point, the attacker may use your personal account or personal information in two different forms of their intentions or interests. Like, for example, use your name, use your account to order items and other forms of their interest. What is the purpose of webjacking? The purpose of this attack is to try to harvest the credentials, usernames, passwords, and account numbers of users by using a fake web page with a valid link which opens when the user is redirected to it after opening the legitimate site. Next attack is the cyberstalking. The repeated use of electronic communications to harass or frighten someone, for example, by sending threatening emails. A cyberstalker doesn't physically follow his victim. He does it virtually by following his online activity to harvest information about the stalkee and harass him or her and make threats using verbal intimidation. It is an invasion of one's online privacy. There are two ways how cyberstalking can be made. It can be either internet stalker or computer stalker. First, let us talk about internet stalking. Here, the stalker harasses the victim via the internet. Unsolicited email is the most common way of threatening someone, and the stalker may even send obscene content and viruses by email. However, viruses and unsolicited telemarketing email alone do not constitute cyberstalking. But if email is sent repeatedly in an attempt to intimidate the recipient, they may be considered as stalking. Take note, internet stalking is not limited to email. Stalkers can comprehensively use the internet to harass the victims. Any other cybercrime that we have already read about, if done with an intention to threaten, harass, or slander the victim, may amount to cyber stalking. Next is the computer stalking. The more technologically advanced, stalkers apply their computer skills to assist them with the crime. They gain unauthorized control of the victim's computer by exploiting the working of the internet and the Windows operating system. Next cyber attack is data diddling. Data diddling is unauthorized altering of data before or during entry into a computer system, and then changing it back after processing is done. Using this technique, the attacker may modify the expected output, and it is difficult to track. In other words, the original information to be entered is changed either by a person typing in the data, a virus that's programmed to change the data. This is one of the simplest methods of committing a computer-related crime because even a computer amateur can do it. Despite this being an effortless task, it can have detrimental effects. Next attack is Salami Slicing attack. This is a technique by which cybercriminals steal money or resources a bit at a time so that there's no noticeable difference in overall size. When small attacks add up to one major attack that can go undetected due to the nature of this type of cybercrime, it is also known as salami slicing. Stealing money electronically is the most common use of the salami slicing technique, but it is not restricted to money laundering. Now, this is done by carefully transferring the funds into the perpetrator's account. Identity theft and credit card fraud. Identity theft occurs when someone steals your identity and pretends to be you to access resources such as credit cards, bank accounts, and other benefits in your name. They may as well use your identity to commit other crimes. Credit card fraud is the most common way for hackers to steal your money. They can use it to buy anything until you report to the authorities and get your card blocked. Some other type of cyber attack is the software piracy. It is the unauthorized use and distribution of computer software. If you have missed the first part, proceed to my YouTube channel. Then click the uploaded video entitled Cybercrime Part 1. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so that you will be updated if there are new uploaded video or videos.